Now we're going to talk about advertising, digital advertising, and how do you spend the money online. The one thing I have to say is, when in doubt, spend money. No, I'm joking. Now the point is that actually online advertising is just so cheap if you do it correctly for the amount that you can acquire new fans or get old fans excited about content, that it's probably one of the places that I think we underspend. Because if you do it correctly, you can literally reach people for, 10 cents, 50 cents, 60 cents, £1, or whatever it might be, which is just such a well-invested plan versus trying to spend that money on creating whatever else you're going to do, because you can just grow it really, really fast. So every time something big is happening, you should really be spending money behind it. In fact, I think about it as every opportunity you have to have great content where you can capture new fans, that's the best, right? That's like what you want to do. You're always trying to grow your audience and get your audience excited about it. So every time you have that as an opportunity, make sure you have a lot of money aside to spend behind it as well. The way we're going to talk about it first is I'm going to show you, first graphs. Graphs. So graphs. So advertising online is growing, good. Big users in the advertising space are Google, Facebook, and Twitter, and these other companies as well who are less relevant. And on mobile, Facebook, so Google kicks ass in terms of the amounts of shares that it has in terms of advertising. But on mobile, Facebook has a huge amount. So Facebook only has about 8, this is slightly old, but they have about 8-9% of the total, but on mobile they'll have like 15-20%. So online, Facebook is really, really, really strong because everything that advertises on Facebook is within the app, so it's a good mobile experience. Whereas Google, a lot of it is on search or on websites, and websites are not very good on mobile, therefore they have less money on it. So it's a really good thing for Facebook. Anyway, graph's done. So, what are we going to talk about? First, I'm going to talk about, who's actually set up ads on Facebook? Most people. Twitter? Very few people. Google AdWords? A little bit more. Okay, so these are all your big 3 platforms to use. I'm going to talk it through in a way that I'm going to explain how you set up advertising across all 3 of them first. And then I'm going to go into the detail of each one. But the way that you set up advertising is actually pretty much the same across all 3. They just have different types of ad types. But once you understand online advertising, you can do it on pretty much any platform. So how does it work? First, when you want to create an advert and you're trying to decide which platform to use, obviously it depends on what type of content you have, but you also really need to understand what type of data they have. Because the most important thing about online advertising is that they have data on users. So on Google, they have all of your browsing history, so they know everywhere that you've been to, and they also know which videos you watch on YouTube. So they really understand how you kind of consume content when you're searching for it, let's say. On Facebook, they have probably way too much information. They have all of your personal information. They know all of the pages you like, but they also know what content you actually interact with. So if you don't like Lady Gaga, her page, you can like her. But if you don't like her page, but you post her videos or you like people who write about it or anything like that, they would be able to know that as well. So it's not just purely page likes. Obviously, page likes are a big part of it, but it's any interaction with any post whatsoever. And it's a very similar thing on Twitter. They track who you follow, what you tweet about, and the interactions you have with the content. Once you decided which one you want to create, they all have a very easy platform. So Google, you just use Google AdWords. All of these are free. Facebook and Twitter, you just go to Twitter Ads. Facebook is the only one that has different ways you can create advertising. They just have the normal self-serve, so you just go create Facebook ad. They have Power Editor, which you should all be using, and I'll talk about Power Editor some more. Power Editor is just like advertising more advanced. So you can create it just in the normal advertising section, or you can go to Power Editor, and there you'll have a lot more options. And more options means better results. So please all use Power Editor. I mean, the first time you ever set an ad, probably Power Editor is a bit scary, but once you've gotten through the first 3 times, you should really move to Power Editor. Then they have these buttons, these boost, post, and promote page. You've all seen them. Do not click on these buttons, right? This is like free candy when you're like a little candy when you're trying to leave the store and it just gets you. Don't click on them. They're really bad because they have very limited amount of options, and the less you use targeting and the less options you use, the worse the post tends to do. So don't use them. Okay, then each of them have very different types of advertising. So you've decided which platform you want to use. You know how to set up your advertising. Then you need to decide what type of advertising you want. Now, I'm not going to start talking through this because it's useless to just list stuff out. But I'll show you what they all look like in a minute. But first, we're just talking through how you set up adverts. So you decide which platform you want. You go in. You decide what type of advert you want. And that's this is a huge part of getting the right advert is very, very important. Once you've decided what type of advert, you're going to start targeting. So you decide who sees the advert. So you've designed the advert, you've decided the type, and then you go, okay, who do I want to show it to? I want to show it to 18 to 35-year-old girls who live in Stockholm, who like Britney Spears, because that's the type of market that I'm going for. So the targeting is really exciting. That's where there's a lot of really interesting things happening. The basic music advertising, everyone's going to do similar artists, right? I'm trying to target to my fans, so it will be people who really like my page or people who really like my artist, or keywords. So for you to become a keyword, I think you need to have something like 40 to 60,000 likes on your page. When you start to get it to 40 to 60, there's some weird anomalies, like Jack Garrett is still not a keyword. I don't know how that's working. But most people, when you start to reach 40 to 60, you start to become a keyword, which means that you can other people can advertise to your artist pretty much. So you can say, oh, I have the new Britney Spears, so I'm going to target Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera fans, whatever it is, because that's the type of vibe we're going for. So that's your keywords. And then you don't have to obviously tag only artists. If you think this is someone that's going to be really good in a certain radio station, you can tag the radio station or whatever it might be. So that's keywords. Then obviously location, you only want to do it in the right place, the right demographic. And then connections to people who like or don't like a page. So you can say, you've got multiple artists. You can say, I want to target people who like this page because maybe the page is too small to be a keyword, but you still want to make sure that you reach all those people as well. And then device is really important. So just be careful. There's a fly flying around. Just be careful about making sure that maybe some of the content that you're creating is better for desktop users than it is for mobile users. So for example, if you're doing a really kind of admin thing that has to do with like a competition, and someone has to go in, sign up, create some content, whatever it might be, you might just want to hit them on desktop because when they're on mobile, they're just not going to go through with it because it's painful, right? So you might want to decide which device you want to do there. Same thing with, no, I'm not going to say that anymore. I used to say with very long form video because people tend to not watch long form video on their mobile, but I don't think that's true anymore. Then once you've decided your targeting, you have to decide how much you want to pay for it. So you'll have your total budget. Let's say you want to spend £100. And then you'll say, okay, how am I going to split that money? Because the most important thing is when you decide what type of ad you want, you need to know what your goal is. Are you trying to get people to view the content? Are you trying to get people to click on something? Are you trying to get more page likes? Are you just trying to get... I know, you just need to decide what is the key thing you want people to do with the ad. But the biggest problem with people is that they don't actually know what they want. They just go, hey, I want my artist to succeed, spend money. Like, no, what are you trying to achieve and who are your fans? I would target, if my album is coming out and I want to have as many people buy or listen to it, that's not a goal, right? Am I talking to people who know about my artist? Or do I talk to people who have never heard about my artist? Because I don't target those people and market to those people in the same way. If someone's never ever heard of my artist, trying to get them to buy anything feels really silly because they're just not going to. So then my goal would be impressions. I want them to watch a video or I want them to listen to something. If I'm trying to get someone, if it's a super fan and they know about me and I want them to buy the 7-inch deluxe vinyl thing that I've done, then that's a very different thing. And then what I'm trying to get is clicks. I want them to click out to the buy site, and that's my goal. Those guys are not the same, and you can't target to them in the same way, and you can't talk to them in the same way. So once you've decided what you want to do, you need to decide, or what the ad is, you want to decide what is your aim. And sometimes you need to split the ads into two and have different content from different people. So let's say you've got £100 and you decide, okay, now I want to either pay for clicks or impressions. So cost per click, you pay every time someone clicks on the ad. Cost per impression, you pay every time sees the ad. That's quite good for video or just for something where you're trying to get awareness around. Don't worry so much about the other ones. There's cost per acquisition, that's conversion tracking. So you can actually only pay every time someone goes and buys something. So if you put a piece of code at the end of your checkout, if it's your own site, you can actually track how many people click on an ad and actually check out, and they can tell you spend £100 and you produce £200 worth of tickets, whatever it might be, and you can track that right through. And then cost per follow, engagement, and view is just for Twitter, so obviously that's slightly different metrics. So you decide your budget, how you're going to pay, and then your ad is up pretty much, and then you watch it, and you see how it does, and then obviously either spends the budget or it doesn't. Now, that's a very whistle-stop tour of how you do advertising, but then there's so much that is important in the detail. The most important thing is matching the environment. How many of you have put up an ad on Facebook that runs for a week? For longer than a week? Okay, I want to kill all of you people right now. Anybody who's doing something that runs for longer than 2 days or 3 days max, you should not. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's Facebook. It changes every day. I don't want to see the ad 7 days in a row. Are you mad? That's not at all how it works. When we're on a website, we feel like it's a newspaper or whatever it might be. Yeah, I can see the same ad a few days. It's fine. Facebook is daily. I mean, I've never seen the same post more than twice in a day. It's once every 2 days. I'm not going to want to see your ad every single day for 7 days. Just get out of my freaking news feed. Right? Change the photo, change the text, change something. You cannot do 7-day campaigns. It kills me. Right? It really kills me. The problem is that your frequency number that they give you is the frequency per day. So you think, oh, I've only hit people 1 or 1.1 time. No, you haven't. You hit them 1 time every day for 7 days. Right? So your frequency measure is really important. It's per day. So don't think, oh, my frequency's fine. It's bad. So yeah, 2 days, 3 days, absolute max. Then change something. You can do a week campaign, just don't be lazy, change it up, right? Just change. Relevancy scores proves the point about what I said about the same thing is true for advertising that it is for free stuff. If you're bad at content, you're not going to reach people if you're not putting advertising money behind it. If you're bad at content and you're paying, you're going to pay a lot of money. Right? So just get better at content. The same rules that apply for organic still applies for advertising. Just because you're spending money doesn't mean that people are going to want to see it. In fact, sometimes your ad is so bad, you don't spend your budget because you suck so much. Facebook's like, I'd rather not annoy people. You can have your money back. I'd rather not kill my users with your bad advertising. I just ain't gonna spend it, right? That's what I mean. So sometimes you just really need to make sure that the better your advertising is, and that's what the relevancy scores tells you, is how is it performing? Are people interacting with it? Are they clicking? Are they liking it? If your relevancy score is really low, you're doing something wrong. So either change the targeting or change the ad or whatever it might be. But that's the 2 numbers I always look at. I do a lot of cost per click stuff. So most of the time I'm looking at my cost per click. Is it high or low? That will show me whether I'm doing bad or good, and my relevancy scores. Sometimes your cost per click is high because your targeting group is small, and the minute your targeting group is small, the price tends to go up. But at least my relevancy score is really good, so I know that even though it's expensive because it's a small group of people, people are enjoying it, they like the ad, so I'm not annoying them, right? When your cost per click is really high and your relevancy score is really low, you're doing something really wrong, right? So the 2 measures you check out is relevancy score and cost per click. If you're doing a cost per click. If you're doing cost per impression, then obviously you look at your cost per impression. Let's go into one by one the advertising now. So Google Ads first. Google AdWords are, it's good for music, but I only really think that one format is important, well, maybe 2. There's 3 types of formats in Google. There's 3 places you can advertise. You can either advertise in search. So obviously people put in words and stuff comes up. I really don't think search matters unless you're into live music, okay? No one's gonna go new music, new pop music, and then gonna click on stuff that pops up, right? Like, people do not do that. If you have a massive artist and you wanna make sure you come out at the top, just get a better website. That should do the trick. But if, otherwise, people ain't searching for you and clicking on ads to reach the artist. The only time this works is, sorry, if you're doing a festival or something like that and you want to say, like, someone's looking up, I don't know, summer festivals in Stockholm, then maybe that makes sense. But unless it's like the way people would search for you, don't put any money behind search placement. Sorry, I've got something stuck in my throat. It's a bit awkward. I always have nightmares about this. Okay, so that's search, don't do it. Then there's display placement. So, sorry. This is your display placement. So all across the internet, ads pretty much rent out their space. So, for example, Guardian will say you can place banners on the top and on the right, and they sell that inventory to Google. This is awful. Sorry. So you rent out space on your ads, and then you can buy the advertising. So Google buys it and then sells it on to you. So, for example, you might want to say that we want to be across the Guardian and Pitchfork or whatever it might be, and then you can buy out that advertising. Oh, I'm really struggling. Sorry, guys. So most websites on the internet have some type of deal with the display network. Some of them don't. So if you want to do like a takeover where you take a huge ban or whatever it might be, you have to go through a third party like Sonic Bids or whatever it might be. But standard advertising that are just top banners and small things like that, you can buy off Google Display. So you'll say, okay, I want to be across the 405, planes and air, or like a whole bunch of different music sites, and you decide to bid against that. The next one is the one that I think you should really be spending your money, is on YouTube. So YouTube, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? People want to listen to music to get to know if they like the artist or not, and in YouTube, that's where you can actually play the music and people will listen to it. Otherwise, you can do, so YouTube advertising is the place where I think you should really be spending a lot of money. Because the point is, when you're trying to get, especially with new fans, if you're trying to get someone to come in and find out about your artist, I mean, yes, you can try get them with a photo or whatever it might be, but really, the strongest way to sell music to someone who's never heard of you is by giving them an audio-visual moment, right? They have to look at the video, they know what you're about, and they hear your music at the same time. The primary place to do that is on YouTube. You can do it on Facebook, and I'll talk about that in a minute because there's a lot of video advertising now on Facebook, but the point is that on Facebook, most people look at content without sound, so you're mainly going to get a visual moment, not really an audio moment. But when people are searching, when they are on YouTube already, they either already have headphones on or they're in a place where they're listening to sound. People don't understand that the point, you have to get people when they're ready to listen to sound. We're consuming music, content online all the time, but the minute we go to YouTube, we're ready to be listening to sound. And anywhere else on the internet, you don't know if people care in that moment to be able to listen to sound. They might be on a bus, they might be at work, they might not have headphones. It's really important to get the person right at the moment where they're ready for you and they're ready for your type of content. So when I have a new song or video coming out, and I can spend money, I would really spend a lot of money behind YouTube. Because yes, sometimes it's more expensive than spending on Facebook, and people will be like, oh, look at the cost per click, or look at the cost per view of YouTube. It might be twice the one of Facebook. And I go, I don't care, because the point is, a view on Facebook is not the same as a view on YouTube. Yes, I got a cheaper cost per view on Facebook, but no one listened to the song, right? Sometimes metrics need to go and just get chucked out the window, because it doesn't matter. You really have to think about right person, right time, right behavior, right mindset. And for me, that's where I start to spend loads of money. I'm like, okay, brand new artist, I want to break them, I want a new audience. I'll target people who watch similar artists' video, or who look at like certain pages. So people who like, if you use the keyword like rock music, you know, they've gone to all of the right sites, or indie music, whatever it might be. And then I really introduce people at the right time to the right audiences. So that's the kind of skippable ads. You can also come up and search on YouTube. I think this is less important because the right-hand placement and the top bit, hardly anyone clicks on when they're looking for stuff. They look for things that they want to. So definitely play around with that. I know people skip ads. I know they're annoying. I know they're not the best thing ever, but still, it's a really important moment to grab someone. If you make the ad really exciting, you get a reasonable click-through to the music video. Facebook. So Facebook has a lot more types of ads, and in fact there are a few more now, but these are the main ones. People's favorite type of ad is page post engagement. That's when someone does a post and then you boost it. This is my worst, right? You have to be so careful about page post engagements. There are very few times when this actually makes sense. If you're trying to build engagement, or if you're trying to build awareness around something, this will make sense. So for example, you've got a big artist and you say on Monday, we're going to launch, the tickets will go on sale on Friday. Then you don't have anything for people to do. You're just trying to get them excited about something. Page post engagement is fine. Anything else where you're trying to get them to click and do something, this sucks. And you should really be doing click-to-website ads. A lot of the time, I'll deal with other promoters that don't know me, and they'll say, no, we want to do page post engagement ads because the cost per click is like 10 cents or 20 cents. And then on click-to-website, it's like £1 or £2. The problem with cost per click is that if you don't know what you're looking for, you're looking at the wrong thing. Cost per click in a page post engagement ad counts for any click. Any click. If you click like, that counts. If you click see more, because there's read more, because it's a long thing, that counts. If you click on the website, it counts. If you click on the page, it counts. Any click is, you're paying for any click, right? So that's crazy, because when you look at your cost per link, click to the link to the website, it will be like 3 or 5 times more than if you do a normal one. It will be like 10% of your total clicks will be actual clicks to website. So if you want someone to buy something or go to somewhere else on the internet, do not use a page post engagement ad, because that's just not going to do what you're trying to do. If you're trying to get people excited and engaging and like it's way more like natural content, then sure, you can do this. But otherwise, if you want to drive stuff, if you want to sell stuff, if you want to get people to go to Spotify, if you want people to buy tickets, if you want people to go to iTunes, click to websites is what you need to be doing. This is the stuff when you get, first of all, the ad is created so that you always go to the website. If you click anywhere on there, like if you click on anywhere on the image or anywhere on the bottom, they're going to push you to the website. Here, you got to find a tiny little link and click on it. People are clicking all over the place. This is really, really made to push the right type of, the right type of behavior. So with this, it's really great now, because click-to-website ads, you can use an image, but you can also use a video. So that's what I do a lot of. I do video click-to-website ads. They work really, really well. Again, remember that most of the time, people are watching video without sound, so it has to work without sound as well. So yeah, I'd say 70% of my ads are click-to-website ads, probably with video. Page likes. No, don't do them. I mean, seriously, guys, come on. You're better than this. Page likes are fine. They've introduced video in page likes now. I tried to do one the other day just to test. It worked pretty badly. Page likes don't make sense. No one's going to like your page and then be like, oh, come back to it. Like, it's such a bad way of getting fans. As I said, you're trying to get fans in with a moment that they will remember you and they will get excited and they want to go and come back and buy your tickets and go to your shows and tell your friends about them. If you're just trying to capture them at a moment where you're introducing them and you're going, here's a picture of me, or here's kind of, like, it just doesn't make sense to me because they can't do anything. They just like your page. That's like such a nothing moment, right? Much rather get someone in by showing them a really cool video or like a piece of a song or a piece of content where they can go, hey, I really like them. Let me go look for them on Facebook and like the page. Obviously, you're not going to get the same conversions. If you do this, you'll get a lot of likes for cheap, but it's not a fan. They just forget about you. And then you're going to have to fight them and your engagements are so low and no one sees your post because they don't like any of your stuff. So the only time I say you should use page likes is if, for example, lots of people know you already. Like, I don't know, let's say like the Rolling Stones didn't have a page and then they decided to go on Facebook and like they don't need to go and introduce everyone to the Rolling Stones. You can just say, Rolling Stones, like my page. That's fine. Everyone knows who you are, right? That's a different thing. But if you're trying to get new people to like your page, don't do it in this way, in my opinion. This is only relevant if you've got, they're very good at installing apps. If any of you have apps, it's really great advertising, but I'm not going to go into it. With events, events are a funny thing. So I normally say events suck. Don't do them. But I've heard, actually this is from when I was speaking in Denmark. They told me in Denmark they don't actually have, like you can't sell tickets to people. There's no ways you can sell tickets on. Is that the same thing in Sweden? Are there like secondary ticketing companies here? So in Denmark, this is really big because everyone can't sell their tickets on, so they use events to switch out. So loads of people always are on the events, which is interesting. But most of the time, I used to say events suck on Facebook because just because you're saying you're going to the event doesn't actually mean that you buy a ticket. I'd much rather do a click to website ad, and then people actually buy the ticket so that I know they will go, versus them just saying they will go. But sometimes it can be useful because Facebook has actually changed the way they do events. They realized that they weren't working, and now they're putting a lot of effort into events. So you'll find that a lot of your timeline will be events now because they're really pushing it in the algorithm, which means that sometimes they can be quite powerful. Also because every time you post on an event, everyone will be notified. So if you're trying to get people excited for it, for example, if you're doing a festival and you get loads of people to go to the event, every time you post a music video from one of the artists you'll play, everyone gets a video, and it's a nice way of doing content marketing, if you will. So even though I used to say like, nah, I think maybe this is something to play around with, depending on whether you're in a place where fans won't find events annoying. Like, I just find events really, really annoying. I live in London. I mean, I get invited to stuff all the freaking time. It's so boring. I like can't keep up with it. But maybe if you live in a smaller city and there isn't that much going on, actually events are exciting for you and you look forward to it versus like them just spamming you all the time. So it probably depends on the country and the size of the city and how much is going on. This is more about the mindset than probably the actual thing. It's really important that you think about getting the person at the right time, as I said. If you're trying to get people to do a competition, wouldn't you check Facebook all the freaking time? You've got like a second, the bus is coming, you're checking Facebook, your friend's gone out for a minute, you're checking Facebook. Like anytime when you can't sit alone for 5 seconds in these days. You're like, oh my God, I'm alone, I need my phone. You might not have time when you're getting hit with an ad to actually go and do something. So why I like offer claims is what you do is you set up this thing, which is an offer, and you tell people if you sign up, you can, with this, we'll send you a coupon and you can get 20% off whatever you want. And that's great because trying to give people a discount on mobile when they could be getting it, like, oh, 20% off this, that's cool. Oh, my friend's back. Oh, phone gone, forgot about it, died, right? This, when you click it, Facebook will send you the email and it will sit in your inbox because they know your email because you signed in with it. And they send you the coupon thing to your email, which is great because people love buying from emails because you can save it and go back to it when you have time, right? So if you're ever doing some type of giveaway or anything like that, then it's worth doing an offer claim because, again, you're going to people the way they like to be treated. Video ads. Video ads, this is great for impressions. So if you're trying to build awareness, but you don't have anything for them to do, it's great to do video ads because you're just paying per view. So let's say you're teasing something out. You're just doing a little teaser, but you don't actually want anyone to go listen to anything or buy anything or whatever it might be, then it's great to do that and pay per view. But otherwise, if you actually want something to do, then you just do a click to website with a video. You're doing the same thing. Don't use the right-hand column, it just doesn't work. So let's look at some advanced stuff on Facebook. The number one thing that I think you should be doing is getting emails. People, emails are not dead, they are alive, and they are great, and they still are the cheapest marketing, most effective thing you'll ever sell anything from. The number of artists where I go to their website and they don't have an email sign up or it's really hidden blows my mind, right? That is literally free marketing. Your open rates, if you're not bad at it, is like 30% on emails. That's really great still, right? If you're really good at email, you can get like 40% open rates. That's amazing. Get more emails. And the reason why you should get more emails is that not only is email great for actually emailing people, but it's also really great for advertising. So if you have a big mailing list, what you can do is you can upload it to Facebook and create something like, let's say I'm working with Arctic Monkeys, I upload their mailing list, and then once I have that saved, just as Arctic Monkeys mailing list, when I'm creating an ad, I can say include or excluded. So there's two ways you can use that. Either you say, okay, people on my mailing list really love me because they gave me my mailing list, so I will target them on the email and on Facebook because I want to double whammy them. Or you can say, hey, I don't want to spend money reaching these people because I can email them for free, so I'll make sure I exclude them out of my advertising so that I don't waste my money. Right? So you can really work it both ways. If you have really bad open rates, you can say, okay, these guys don't read my emails, but I know they really love me, so I'll just target them on Facebook, because at some point they loved me because they gave me my email. So there's loads of things you can do. It's really smart advertising. And so it's definitely worth uploading that and playing around with it. Once you have a custom audience, you can actually create more types of audiences from it. So for example, if I have Arctic Monkeys mailing list, I can say, Facebook, look for people who are similar to that. So either look for one that's really similar or slightly similar. And this is slightly updated now. There's like a scale. But it has to be country by country. So I could say, I want more people in Sweden because I'm going on tour. I only have a certain amount. Facebook will look for people who are acting similar to your fans in the custom audiences and just grow that out for you, and you can target them, which is pretty awesome. So it's a really smart way of growing audiences and testing it out. Then you can also tell Facebook, they can track who goes to your website by putting a cookie in. I'll talk about cookies in a minute. And you can tell Facebook, look for people who are similar to people who visit my website, because I know that those people really like me, or people who use my app, or some people who are similar to my fans. So you can say, people who like my page really like me, but I only have a small amount and I want to grow it out. So can you just create a lookalike audience that is like the people who look like people who like my page? Does that make sense? You've got 40,000 people liking your page, you want to reach 100,000, you tell Facebook, find another 60,000 people, and they'll find it. Now, how well this works depends on how niche your artist is or your page is. If you've got loads of different people liking your page, it tends to be obviously kind of less effective. If you have a really niche audience, this stuff tends to work quite well. Everything you do should be A/B tested. So you should try to test targeting with keywords versus targeting with lookalike audiences and see which one does better. You don't know how anything works until you try it. And what is true last month is probably not true the next month. Then this is really good, carousel ads. This at the moment is probably just about the cheapest ad you can possibly do. Everyone needs to be doing carousel ads because they're really great. Also, if you're doing an album release, it's really great because you can say listen on Spotify, buy the vinyl, buy it on Amazon, whatever it might be, and you can have 4 to 5 different options. So these ads are awesome. They're like a click to website, but you've got 4 different things. You can make a nice pattern that goes through all of them, and they're really freaking cheap. So try them out. You can now do video in them as well, so it's either photos or video. I feel like 4 videos is a bit overwhelming though, so maybe I would do like a video and then a picture and then a video, or just do one video. I don't know but play around with them. But yeah, you can do video as well. Then there's Facebook lead ads. So lead ads are a way that you can get people's emails really easily. So because, as I said, people don't always have so much time, or they don't want to type out their emails on their phone, you can make it so that you create an ad that people can just click, and with one button they can just send you their email. So it's just instantaneous. And it's really cheap for getting emails. When they first launched, it was slightly more expensive because people didn't know what they were. But as people are getting more comfortable with it, you can get emails for pretty cheap. So you should, again, A/B test it. Do a click to website where the people go and actually give you their email address on a website, and then do one where it's just a lead ad and see which one turns out cheaper. Instagram advertising. It's a funny one. Like, first, Instagram was really cheap, and I was spending so much money on Instagram. Now I feel like Instagram is slightly more expensive. And actually, you have to analyze the numbers properly. If you are trying to do, because I do a lot of cost per click advertising, when I'm on Facebook, it tends to be cheaper than Instagram because Instagram isn't a very clicky out type of place. So I started to stress because my cost per click was like double on Instagram than it was on Facebook. And I was thinking, oh, should I even bother with advertising on Instagram? It's become so expensive. But then I looked at the cost per impression. Even though I'm not bidding for it, they'll still tell you how much it costs to reach 1,000 people. And my cost per impression was really low on Instagram, much lower than Facebook. Because people on Instagram don't necessarily, because people aren't used to links on Instagram, they don't click out of Instagram. When you're in Instagram, you're kind of like just going through the feed, right? Because there's no links. Obviously, with the ad, you can click on it, but people tend to stick to their defined behavior per platform. So although you don't get a lot of click action, you get a shitload of views. So sometimes it works out quite well, and you should still play around with it. Just test it out and see what works and what doesn't work. On Instagram, you can do click to websites, you can do carousel, and you can do video. Carousels don't work as well because the carousel has got like 3 little dots, and that's the only way you know it's a carousel. So people tend not to flick because they don't know that they can. I mean, you can, again, test it out, but I think I just do straight pictures, or sometimes I do video, but I tend to think that video does a lot better on Facebook than it does on Instagram. So I just do click to website with a photo on Instagram, and then normally click to website with a video, or a carousel on Facebook. Canvas. It's like an entire screen thing. So first of all, it's the whole thing. So it's the whole screen. It's like almost like a Snapchat. And you can have video, you can have multiple images, you can have things that go through it. It's a really beautiful system. It's okay, thank you. Thanks. So the way it works is that instead of just having like one, it looks like a click to website until you click on it, and then it takes over your entire screen. So it's a really nice new thing that they've just launched. You need to have a smart-ish kind of designer who can create it, but I created it from scratch, and it was pretty easy, and I'm not very good with the stuff. But anyway, so you can add pictures, videos, photos, and people just kind of scroll through it or swipe left and right, and it's an entire screen takeover. And they just launched them about a month or 2 ago, so they're still pretty new, but it's definitely worth playing around with it, especially if you've got a festival and you want to put all the acts in, or if you've got a tour coming across many cities, or if you've got an album coming out and you've got loads of beautiful pieces of content, you can actually just create a little world within the ad and then click to it and go to it. People still don't know Canvas, so the problem is trying to get people to actually click on the ad to discover the stuff. But once they get used to it, I think it'll be really great advertising. I'm running out of time. Okay, Twitter, let's do it quick. Okay, so Twitter is very similar to Facebook. It pretty much works more or less the same way. You can try and they have the same type of ad types, but the one thing that people don't know a lot about is Twitter cards. So Twitter cards are something you create in the Twitter ads platform, and they create a better product than just using a tweet, because tweets are great, but they're short, and they can't convey everything, and they're not very clickable because the links are like kind of awkward. So you can create something that looks like a click to website, but it's just called a lead card or website card. So website cards are similar, more or less, to click to websites. And you can add a picture and put in a description and put a button. And lead generation cards are actually to get emails. So just like I showed you that had lead generation cards on Facebook, if you click on that, you just send someone their email within one click instead of having to go to a website and type it out. So it's a really great way of getting emails. You can also create app cards, but I don't think a lot of you are into apps. So what can you do? You can try and get follows, just like a page like. Again, I wouldn't really do this. I think it's much better to do website clicks. So website clicks is what I would be doing if I was doing Twitter advertising. I don't do so much Twitter advertising. I find it slightly more expensive than Facebook. But if you have a big fan base on Twitter, it might make sense. So you can either create an actual Twitter card where you add the picture and the call to action, whatever, and the tweet, or you can just do a tweet with a website. I definitely do a card. Oh, one thing that is really important is you can actually create these cards and tweet them out for free, and no one knows about that. So if you go into the Twitter ads section, you can either pay to promote it, or you can just tweet it. And it's way cooler than just a tweet, because that looks a lot more impressive and takes up a lot more space in the Twitter field than if you were just tweeting. So if you've got something coming out, just create a card and tweet it all day for free. And then if you want to reach loads of people, then you can spend money behind it. But most people don't know that you could actually create them for free. Tweet engagement is the same as a promoted page post. Similar feel, you're paying for engagement, you're not paying for clicks, so this doesn't always make sense if you're trying to drive any action, but if you're just trying to get people excited about something, then you can do that as well. Leads is what I was talking about, so you create a lead ad, and when people sign up, they just have to click on one button, and then, so the way it works, just for you guys, when they click on the button, their email just goes to an Excel sheet, and at the end of the day, you just download the Excel sheet, and you've got everyone's emails. It's the same thing with Facebook. And then they also have video. So now that you have video on Twitter, you can also do video ads as well. So just like Facebook, you can upload emails and create custom audiences. They just call them tailored audiences. And just like Facebook, you can create lookalike audiences. So same type of advertising. You use your emails to reach the right people. This is where it really actually gets exciting about Twitter. If you're going to be on TV, or if you're going to be at a big event, or if at any point in time your artist is going to be at the Brits or at some big event, whatever it is, advertising then makes a lot of sense because people tend to live tweet, watch TV and tweet, and that's when you can get them, right? So you can actually say, I want to target people who are watching a show. So Facebook tracks TV watching. So Made in Chelsea is a big show in the UK. And we get loads of, a lot of music syncs on it. So you can actually tweet to everyone who's watching the show, and they know that because either they're searching for the show on Twitter or they're tweeting about it. And you can actually target people who are busy watching the show that you're being synced to. So it's a really powerful thing. If your artist is going to be playing at a festival or anything like that, where you've got loads of people looking for the hashtag or tweeting at the festival, you can advertise to them right there and then. So whenever you've got your artist at an important event that's live event, that's when it makes sense to spend some money on Twitter or any TV thing. It's really great for those two things. Let's talk about some advanced advertising. That's not Twitter, it's just across the board. First of all, retargeting. How many of you know what retargeting is? I'm sure you all actually know what retargeting is. Have you ever been to a site, you're having a bad day, you're like, I should buy some shoes, I'm going to buy some shoes to make myself feel better, and then you're like, this is stupid, I'm not buying the shoes, I'm just going to go to Facebook and look at other people's lives to make myself feel better, and then the shoes follow you around. That's retargeting. I mean, the way it works is that you go to a website, they place a tag on your browser, not on yourself, not on your computer, just your browser, and that tag is called a cookie or a pixel. Well, the pixel puts the cookie in anyway, and then that was given to you by one of the advertising platforms, and they collect the cookies. So Facebook would say, if you want to do this, here's a piece of code, put it in your website. And same thing for the others. And then you actually, when they go to Facebook, they know that person went to your website, so they can target them, right? So instead of saying, I want to target people by keywords or people who are 18 to 35 who like this, blah, 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 you just say, I want to target people who've been to my website. That's retargeting, basic retargeting 101. And it does work really, really well. The only problem is that with music, if you are a retailer, then yes, people do tend to go to your website, but a lot of music fans don't go to artists' websites. So it's less powerful for retargeting. Although that's why a lot of people are starting to build their campaigns, like for example, Adele, everything went to her website. Did you notice that? A lot of artists are starting, when you see people starting to do it, that everything goes through their website, that's because they have a retargeting strategy. That's what they're trying to do. cookie everyone up on the website and then target them later. It makes for really great, cheap advertising. So that's a really good strategy. If you don't have that strategy, the other way you can do it is actually retarget people based on links and on YouTube. I think YouTube is a no-brainer. You can set this up in Google AdWords where you start to collect information on anyone that watches any of your videos. That's an amazing thing to be able to target. So you just track when anyone goes to your channel, watches any of your videos, watches all of your videos, watches the specific videos. You can create these groups, and over time, Facebook just starts tracking and tracking and tracking. You need to do this about at least a month before you want to start the campaign, because you can't start today and say, I want to target everyone who watched my video for the last month, because you haven't been collecting, right? So you need to do this before the campaign. Set this up, and then you start to pick up this retargeting stuff. Retargeting data is only useful for about 60 days. After that, it's people clear their browsers, whatever it might be. But it's a really great place to start creating these pools that you can then retarget to. So for example, guess what? Your album is coming out. Why don't you just tell everyone in a YouTube pre-roll, everyone who's watched your video, any of your videos for the last 60 days, because they probably want to know because they've just been watching your videos. Obvious, right? But people don't do it all the time. The other thing you can do is actually retarget people who have clicked on any of your links, any link you ever put on social media. If you wrap it, you can do retargeting. My favorite way of retargeting is by using a company called Linkfire. I don't know how many of you guys know Linkfire. They're from Denmark. Yeah. So they're a really great platform for a variety of reasons. They're just like a smart URL or a bit.ly or whatever. They're a link shortener. So when you click on, you take a big link, you make it small. But apart from just being a link shortener, they do a whole bunch of things. So first of all, they do retargeting. So every time you click on it, it fires all the information. So if you put the right thing in the back end, every time anyone clicks on any of the links that I've shortened, I get the information, I can track them, and I can advertise to them later on Facebook, on Twitter, on Google if I want to. And also, they have a special link for music links. So I now wrap every single one of my links, whether they're music or non-music links. I'll just wrap them because then I can get their data and I can target them later. But they're also great for music links. So if for example, this is one of the artists that I work with. When we were doing his album launch, we had a link for, obviously, to listen to or buy his album. When someone clicks on the link, they actually just decide where they want to consume music. So instead of having a Spotify link and an Amazon link and an iTunes link or whatever, you just have one link, people click on it, they go to this page, and then they can listen to music instantaneously, so that's pretty cool. And then they just go where they want to go. And it all does this for you for free. So, not for free, you have to pay. But you put the link in and it finds all of the services. And then if you want to add any other services, you can. If you want to delete some of the services, you can. You pretty much customize that landing page. So it's a really great service. And then you get a whole bunch of data, because then you can know, okay, people who click on my links, 30% go to Spotify, 30% goes to my website, 30% goes to this place, and you would never have that information. And then if you want to take it to another level, you can actually retarget people based on where they click. So you can say, I want to target everyone who's clicked on my links and then clicked to Spotify with a Spotify ad, and everyone who clicked on my links and went to iTunes with an iTunes ad, because that makes a lot of sense, right? That stuff is pretty freaking cool, if you ask me. And no one's doing it because people are lazy. Anyway, let's wrap it all up. So how do you put together a marketing campaign? First of all, you Google yourself. If you're not at the top of Google, then you're doing something wrong. Get a better website. End of story. Then look at similar artists, because most of you are going to do keyword targeting. So you need to find out who you sound like. No, you don't all sound like Radiohead. So go to Spotify, look at similar artists. Go to, I think I've forgotten to add this. There's actually something on Facebook that is pretty useful. If you go to Audience Insights, is that what it's called? I think it's called Audience Insights. In your Facebook advertising platform, there's a place where you can just put in the page and it will tell you, these people who like your page also like these pages, this is your demographic, this is where they're at. And you get a whole bunch of information about it. So you can just pretty much get free targeting information, which is pretty great. So you can look for similar artists there, so know what you sound like, know what type of, what's the lifestyle of your fans. Then content is king. If your ads are crappy, you will pay a lot of money for them. Don't get lazy just because you have a big advertising budget. The number one thing is your ad is really cool, and then everything else. And then how do you actually go through the different stages? So if you're launching a music video, what would I do? If I was launching a music video, I would take the video, make a 20-second version of it, cut it out. I would post that natively on, another thing, really important thing that people don't talk about enough. Do not compete against yourself, okay? If you're posting the actual video, don't place the advert at the same time as your post, because people ain't gonna be shown the ad and the post, so you're just competing against yourself. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Also, so I work both on the label side and the promoter side. Promoters don't talk to labels enough. Do you know how many times my cost per click is through the freaking roof and I don't know why? And then I ask the label, were you also running ads this weekend? And they go, yeah. I'm like, oh, good. So we were competing against each other. That was really smart. So we both bid our price up because we were trying to see whether they're going to see your ad or my ad. That makes no sense, guys. Like, don't do that. If anything, what you should be doing is putting your budgets together, creating a carousel ad, and guess what? You can advertise the ticket and the album at the same time, and you're going to have a really cheap ad, and you're not competing. Makes a lot more sense, right? So always ask people, by the way, is anybody running ads at the same time? Because if they are, you shouldn't be running them as well. It doesn't work. So, sorry, back to video. So if I'm launching my video, I cut down a version. I have a 20, 30-second version. I upload that on Facebook. And then in terms of advertising, I spend money on pre-roll ads on YouTube. I spend money on Facebook. I probably do a click to website with a video and get people to go out. That's probably how I would do it. It depends. You could play around with it. Instagram ads, you can run them as well. Again, video doesn't work as well on Instagram, so I'd probably focus on YouTube and Facebook for music videos specifically. Or you can also do, if your artist is really big, you can do a video ad or a click-to-website ad with a video on Twitter as well. If you're trying to get more emails, you want to do lead generation ads. You want to do a click-to-website ad and see which one does better. If you're trying to get people to sign up to emails, don't send them to a page that also has the tiny sign up in the corner, which is your website, because they ain't going to find it and they're going to get distracted and they're going to do something else. If you want them to sign up, send them to a page that only has the sign up button, right? That's it, nothing else. Don't get distracted. Just make it really easy for people to do stuff. Or you do a Facebook offer, because if you do a Facebook offer, they'll buy something from your shop, and if they buy something from your shop, then you have their email address, right? So it works out quite well. If I'm trying to get people to buy or pre-order my album, yeah, you can get a little crazy. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do. You can do Instagram advertising with a cool picture. You can do carousel ads with the different variations. You can try do the new ads I showed you. You can do click-to-website ad, where they go out to a Linkfire link where they can decide where they want to go to. You would definitely do remarketing on YouTube. Everyone who's watched my video in the past should know that my album is coming out. And you can also do hashtag stuff, people using your hashtag. Make sure you hit them up and remind them about you. If I have a gig coming out, depending on which demographic you're looking after, you might do Facebook events. You definitely want to do a click-to-website where you're getting them to go out and buy the ticket, or a conversion one. And then I wrote awareness here because it's really important. If I'm working with a really small band, we do 80 cap rooms and we do 5,000 cap rooms. So it's really very different advertising, and your results will be very different. As your artist gets more likes, your cost comes right down. So I can have anything between a 20% to a £4 cost per click, depending on the size of the band. Sometimes, when the band is really tiny, it's actually worth spending money trying to get awareness out before you spend money to try to get people to convert. So you probably want to ask the label or the artist manager or whatever to actually spend the money before they're about to announce the tour, before you're starting to announce the shows, because it's going to be really expensive for you to advertise and try to get people to go to a show which they've never heard about. So you want to have that conversation where spend first for awareness, so get a really nice piece of music video, get people to know about the band, get them to get excited about it, and then you advertise them with a ticket. Because if the first thing they ever get is a ticket ad, they ain't gonna click on it because they don't know who you are. So that's not gonna work, right? So really important that you think about which phase your artist is in. And that's it, really. I mean, it's the most important things is really good ad. If they're going to a website, make sure the website works on your phone. Really good content. The length of the ads means do not go up for 7 days on Facebook because I want to kill you. It's fine on YouTube. Somehow I'm okay. I wouldn't probably bug you for 7 days. Probably 3 days. Well, again, 3 days. Just don't annoy people. Use advanced targeting settings because it's really worth playing with retargeting. It's really worth playing with customer audiences and lookalike audiences and all these type of things. And then the most important thing is test, analyze, and start again. How many of you, when you place an ad, you just place up one type of ad? Just one ad at a time? Oh, come on, all of you do one ad. I know what you're doing. Hardly any of you A/B test this stuff. Every time you put up an ad, you should either have 2 types of ads or 2 types of targeting, one or the other. It's the only way you'll learn, right? This stuff changes all the time. Every time I think I've got it right, then it moves somewhere else, and then it moves somewhere else. By the way, ad agencies are terrible at their job. Like, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope I find someone that's actually good, but they have no idea what they're doing. Like, they bring back the results, and I'm like, what? I asked them, like, when's the last time you did a video ad? They're like, video ads? Like, it's amazing. Anyway, the point here is either you need to know what you're doing, or you need to ask them to test their boundaries a little bit, because if you're not trying 2 different types of advertising, two different types of targeting, or 2 different types of ads, you just don't know what works. Because maybe one week the cost per click is really high, and the other week it's really low, and you think, hey, I'm winning. But you're not, because actually just that week you weren't competing with other ads, or that week was a good time to target someone because they just got paid. It was end of the month and people had payday, or anything can change, right? Everything changes all the time. So the only way you know what's working and what's not working is if you run 2 ads at the same time with the same variables and you just change one variable. That's when you know what's working. So please, every time, never 1 ad at a time, always 2 ads or 2 types of targeting, and then find out what works. And if you find something really cool, give me a call and let me know. Time for questions?
1.
I have about 10,000 followers on a YouTube channel. Is there a way to reach them other than just putting up a video?
Yeah, you can target to people who go to your channel. So you can add the retargeting. So it can be video-based or channel-based. So if you just start retargeting everyone that visits your channel, most of your followers will visit your channel within a month. So you can just target them by doing that. Cool, thank you very much. If you have questions, give me a shout.
Big applause for the amazing Claire Mads.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.